Hello, folks. In this video, we are going to explore some of the most popular American idioms used by native speakers in the United States of America. Let's get started. First of all, what is an idiom? Well, an idiom is a phrase whose meaning can't be understood from the literal interpretation of its words. Instead, it conveys specific meanings shaped by cultural context. For instance, the idiom kick the bucket means to die, not literally kicking a bucket. Idioms are deeply embedded in the culture, history, and identity of societies. They reflect cultural values, beliefs, and social norms, often deriving from historical events or common professions, providing insights into the community's experiences. Additionally, idioms foster a sense of belonging among group members, serving as markers of identity that distinguish between various cultures or subcultures. They also illustrate the evolution of language, incorporating elements from migration, trade, or colonization. Now let's dive into the most popular American idioms. The idiom jump on the bandwagon means to join or support something, like a trend, movement, or activity, that has become popular or successful, often to be part of the crowd or to take advantage of its popularity. It can sometimes carry a slightly negative connotation, implying that someone is following others without thinking critically. Here is an example. After seeing how popular the new fitness app became, many people decided to jump on the bandwagon and start using it too. The idiom, throw in the towel, means to give up, surrender, or admit defeat in a situation. It originates from boxing, where a trainer or corner person would literally throw a towel into the ring to signal that their fighter was quitting the match. The phrase is now used more broadly to describe quitting or abandoning an effort. Here is an example. After hours of trying to fix the broken computer, he finally decided to throw in the towel and call a professional. The idiom hit the hay means to go to bed or to go to sleep. It's a casual and informal way of saying that someone is going to rest for the night. The phrase likely originates from the days when people slept on mattresses stuffed with hay. Here is an example. After a long day at work, I was so tired that I decided to hit the hay early. The idiom, bring home the bacon, means to earn a living or provide financial support for one's family. It's often used to describe someone who is the primary breadwinner or who works hard to support their household. Here is an example. Even though she works long hours, she's proud to bring home the bacon and support her family. The idiom, get your foot in the door, means to gain an initial opportunity or entry into a field, organization, or situation, often as a starting point for further advancement. It's about securing a small but significant chance that could lead to bigger opportunities in the future. Here is an example. She took an internship at the company to get her foot in the door and eventually landed a full-time job. The idiom, raining cats and dogs, means that it is raining very heavily. It's a colorful and exaggerated way to describe a downpour or intense rainfall. The origin of this phrase is unclear, but it has been used since at least the 17th century to vividly depict a storm. Here is an example. We had to cancel our picnic because it was raining cats and dogs all afternoon. The idiom, straight from the horse's mouth, means getting information directly from the most reliable or authoritative source, rather than through hearsay or secondhand accounts. It implies that the information is trustworthy because it comes from someone who is directly involved or has first-hand knowledge. Here is an example. I heard straight from the horse's mouth that the company is planning to launch a new product next month. The idiom, the whole 9 yards, means to go all the way, to do something completely, or to give it your full effort. It's often used to emphasize that nothing is being left out or spared. Here is an example. When planning her wedding, she went the whole 9 yards, custom dress, live band, and a 5-course dinner for all the guests. The idiom, turn a blind eye, means to deliberately ignore something you know is wrong or problematic, often to avoid taking action or responsibility. It originates from a historical anecdote about Admiral Horatio Nelson, who supposedly pretended not to see a signal to retreat by holding a telescope to his blind eye. Here is an example. The manager decided to turn a blind eye to the employees' occasional tardiness because they were otherwise very hardworking. This idiom is a great example of how English speakers use colorful expressions to describe avoiding responsibility or overlooking issues. The idiom, give someone a hand, means to help someone with something, whether it's a task, problem, or situation. It's a friendly and common way to offer assistance. Here is an example sentence. Could you give me a hand with moving this heavy table to the other room? This idiom is perfect for showing how English speakers use everyday phrases to express helpfulness and teamwork. The idiom, drop the ball, means to make a mistake, fail to do something, or neglect a responsibility, often at a critical moment. It comes from sports, where dropping the ball can lead to a loss or missed opportunity. Here's an example for you. I really dropped the ball when I forgot to send the important email before the deadline. This idiom is a great way to describe moments of oversight or failure in a relatable and vivid way. The idiom, throw a curveball, means to surprise someone with something unexpected or challenging, often in a way that makes a situation more difficult. It comes from baseball, where a curveball is a pitch that is tricky to hit because of its unexpected movement. I'll show you an example. The interviewer threw me a curveball by asking a question I hadn't prepared for. This idiom is a fun way to describe unexpected twists or challenges in everyday life. The idiom, bite the bullet, means to face a difficult or unpleasant situation with courage and determination, even though it might be painful or uncomfortable. It originates from the practice of having soldiers bite on a bullet during surgery to endure the pain before modern anesthesia was available. I'll show you an example. I knew the project would be tough, but I decided to bite the bullet and get started right away. This idiom is a powerful way to describe tackling challenges head-on, even when it's hard. The idiom, spill the beans, means to reveal a secret or share information that was supposed to be kept confidential, often unintentionally. Its origin is unclear, but it's thought to come from ancient Greek voting practices, where beans were used to cast votes, and spilling them could reveal the results prematurely. I'll show you an example. I wasn't supposed to tell anyone about the surprise party, but I accidentally spilled the beans to Sarah. This idiom is a playful way to talk about revealing secrets or letting information slip. The idiom, piece of cake, means something is very easy or simple to do. It's often used to describe tasks or challenges that require little effort. The phrase likely comes from the idea that eating a piece of cake is an enjoyable and effortless activity. I'll show you an example. The math test was a piece of cake because I had studied so well. This idiom is a fun and lighthearted way to describe something that's easy or straightforward. The idiom, break the ice, means to do or say something to relieve tension or awkwardness in a social situation, often when people are meeting for the first time. It comes from the idea of breaking ice to clear a path, making it easier to move forward. Here is an example sentence. To break the ice at the party, I told a funny story about my first day at work. This idiom is a great way to describe making social interactions smoother and more comfortable. The idiom, don't cry over spilled milk, means there's no use being upset or worrying about something that has already happened and cannot be changed. It encourages moving on instead of dwelling on past mistakes or accidents. Here is an example sentence. I was upset about missing the bus, but my friend reminded me, don't cry over spilled milk. There's another one in 10 minutes. This idiom is a practical and encouraging way to remind someone to focus on the present and not waste energy on things they can't control. The idiom, in hot water, means to be in trouble or facing difficulties, often because of a mistake or wrongdoing. It evokes the idea of being in an uncomfortable or dangerous situation, like being in scalding water. Here is an example sentence. He's in hot water with his boss for missing the deadline on the project. This idiom is a vivid way to describe being in a problematic or stressful situation. The idiom, a piece of the pie, means a share or portion of something valuable, such as money, opportunities, or benefits. It's often used in contexts where resources or advantages are being divided among people. Here is an example sentence. With the company's profits growing, all the employees hope to get a piece of the pie through bonuses. This idiom is a great way to talk about sharing in the benefits or rewards of a situation. The idiom cut the mustard means to meet a required standard or to perform adequately in a given situation. It's often used to describe someone or something that is capable or effective. I'll show you an example sentence. I wasn't sure if the new employee could handle the project, but she really cut the mustard and delivered excellent results. This idiom is a fun and informal way to express that someone or something has succeeded in meeting expectations. The idiom, bite off more than you can chew, means to take on a task or responsibility that is too big or difficult to handle. It's often used to describe someone who overestimates their abilities or capacity. Let me show you one example sentence. He agreed to organize the entire event by himself, but now he's realizing he bit off more than he can chew. This idiom is a great way to caution someone against taking on too much or to reflect on a situation where someone has overcommitted. The idiom, grasping at straws, means to make a desperate attempt to save a situation or solve a problem, often by resorting to unlikely or unrealistic solutions. It's used when someone is in a difficult position and is trying anything, even if it's unlikely to work. Here is an example. When he suggested we solve the problem by starting over, I realized he was just grasping at straws because he had no real solution. This idiom is a vivid way to describe someone who is trying anything to solve a problem, even if their ideas are unrealistic or far-fetched. The idiom, the elephant in the room, refers to an obvious problem or issue that everyone is aware of, but no one wants to discuss or address. It's something that's too big or uncomfortable to ignore, yet people avoid talking about it to avoid awkwardness or conflict. Here is an example sentence. We all knew the company was losing money, but no one wanted to talk about the elephant in the room during the meeting. This idiom is widely used in both casual and formal conversations, and it highlights how people often avoid difficult topics. The idiom, two peas in a pod, is used to describe two people who are very similar in appearance, behavior, or personality. It emphasizes how closely alike they are, just like two peas in the same pod. Let me show you an example sentence. Sarah and Emily are like two peas in a pod. They both love the same music, have the same sense of humor, and even finish each other's sentences. This idiom is a fun and visual way to explain how two people are almost identical in some way. It's great because it's simple and widely used in everyday conversation. The idiom, once in a blue moon, is used to describe something that happens very rarely or almost never. A blue moon is a real astronomical event where there are two full moons in one calendar month, which is uncommon. Hence, the phrase is used to emphasize rarity. I'll show you an example sentence. John doesn't usually eat sweets, but once in a blue moon, he'll treat himself to a slice of chocolate cake. This idiom is perfect because it's widely used in American English and is a fun way to describe rare occurrences. The idiom, the apple of my eye, is used to describe someone who is very special, cherished, or loved deeply. It often refers to a person who is the center of someone's affection, like a child, partner, or close friend. The phrase has been around for centuries and originally referred to the pupil of the eye, which was considered precious. Let me show you an example sentence. My little niece is the apple of my eye. I love spending time with her and making her laugh. This idiom is a sweet and heartfelt way to express love or admiration, making it a great addition to your English expressions. The idiom, in a nutshell, is used to summarize something briefly or explain it in a few words. It's like taking a big idea and condensing it into a small, easy-to-understand package, just like how a nutshell is small but contains everything inside it. Here is an example sentence. The movie was about love, loss, and second chances. In a nutshell, it was a beautiful story about life. This idiom is perfect because it's a common and useful way to simplify complex ideas. The idiom go bananas means to become extremely excited, angry, or crazy about something. It's often used to describe someone losing control of their emotions, either in a positive or negative way. Here is an example sentence. When the team scored the winning goal, the fans went bananas and started cheering wildly. This idiom is fun and informal, making it a great addition to your English arsenal. The idiom, The whole enchilada means everything or the entire thing. It's often used to emphasize that something includes all parts or aspects, not just a portion. Let me show you one example sentence. I didn't just want a slice of the project, I wanted to be in charge of the whole enchilada. The idiom "let the cat out of the bag" means to reveal a secret or share information that was supposed to be kept hidden. It's often used when someone accidentally or carelessly discloses something confidential. Here is an example sentence. I was planning a surprise party for Sarah, but my brother let the cat out of the bag when he mentioned it in front of her. This idiom is both fun and useful, making it a great addition to your English language arsenal. The idiom "head over heels" is used to describe someone who is completely and deeply in love or extremely excited about something. It conveys a sense of being overwhelmed or consumed by emotions, often in a positive way. The phrase originally referred to a physical tumbling motion, like a somersault, but over time it evolved to describe an emotional state. You can use it in a sentence like this. Ever since they met at the coffee shop, Sarah has been head over heels for Jake, and she can't stop talking about him. This idiom is a great way to express strong feelings of infatuation or enthusiasm in a vivid and relatable way. The idiom "cost an arm and a leg" means that something is extremely expensive or comes at a very high price. It's used to emphasize that the cost of something is so high that it feels like a significant sacrifice, as if you're giving up something as valuable as an arm or a leg. Let me show you an example sentence. Buying a new car these days can cost an arm and a leg, so I'm saving up for a long time. This idiom is vivid and memorable, making it a great addition to your English expressions. The idiom "bite the dust" means to fail, be defeated, or come to an end. It can also refer to someone or something being destroyed or dying. This phrase has a dramatic and somewhat informal tone, often used in contexts where something or someone meets an unfortunate or final end. Here is an example sentence. After years of dominating the market, the company's outdated products finally bit the dust when newer, more innovative competitors emerged. This idiom is a colorful way to describe failure or defeat, making it a fun and expressive addition to your language. The idiom "cool as a cucumber" is used to describe someone who remains calm, composed, and unruffled, especially in stressful or challenging situations. The phrase likely comes from the fact that cucumbers stay cool even in warm weather, symbolizing a sense of steadiness and poise. I'll show you an example sentence. Even though the presentation was running late and the projector stopped working, Emily stayed as cool as a cucumber and handled everything smoothly. This idiom is a great way to highlight someone's ability to stay calm under pressure, making it a useful and relatable expression. The idiom "caught between a rock and a hard place" is used to describe a situation where someone is faced with two equally difficult or unpleasant choices, and neither option seems favorable. It conveys a sense of being trapped or stuck in a dilemma with no easy way out. Here is an example sentence. Sarah was caught between a rock and a hard place when she had to choose between attending her best friend's wedding or an important work conference on the same day. This idiom is a vivid way to express the frustration of being in a tough spot, making it a relatable and engaging expression. The idiom "a fly on the wall" refers to someone who secretly observes a situation or conversation without being noticed. It's often used to express curiosity about what's happening in a private or important moment, as if the observer were an unnoticed insect on the wall. I'll show you an example sentence. I wish I could be a fly on the wall during their argument. I'm so curious to know what they're really saying to each other. This idiom is a playful and vivid way to describe the desire to witness something intriguing or behind the scenes. The idiom "barking up the wrong tree" means to pursue a mistaken or incorrect course of action, often by blaming or accusing the wrong person or looking in the wrong place for a solution. It comes from the image of a dog barking at a tree where it mistakenly believes its prey is hiding, even though the prey is elsewhere. Let me show you an example sentence. If you think I'm the one who ate the last slice of cake, you're barking up the wrong tree. I wasn't even home last night. This idiom is a colorful and relatable way to describe a misguided effort or accusation, making it a great addition to your English arsenal. The idiom, "don't count your chickens before they hatch," means you shouldn't assume something will happen or be successful until it actually does. It's a warning to avoid being overconfident or making plans based on something that hasn't yet come to fruition. The phrase originates from farming, where counting eggs as if they're already chickens can lead to disappointment if the eggs don't hatch. Here is an example sentence. "I know you're excited about the job interview, but don't count your chickens before they hatch. Wait until you get the official offer." This idiom is a great way to talk about caution and managing expectations. The idiom, "the ball is in your court," means it's now someone else's turn to take action or make a decision. It comes from sports like tennis or basketball, where the ball is literally in one player's court or possession, and it's their responsibility to respond. This idiom is often used in conversations to indicate that the next move or decision is up to the other person. Let me show you an example sentence. "I've sent you all the details for the project, so the ball is in your court now. Let me know what you decide." This is a great idiom to chat about taking initiative or waiting for someone else to act. The idiom, "go back to the drawing board," means to start over or rethink a plan because the current one didn't work. It comes from the idea of literally returning to a drawing board to create a new design or strategy. This idiom is often used when a project, idea, or plan fails and needs to be revised. Here is an example sentence. "Our marketing campaign didn't attract enough customers, so we'll have to go back to the drawing board and come up with a better idea." This is a great idiom to talk about persistence and problem solving. The idiom, "kill two birds with one stone," means to accomplish two tasks or goals with a single action. It's a way of describing efficiency, getting two things done at the same time instead of doing them separately. The phrase likely comes from hunting or farming, where hitting two birds with one stone would be a skillful and efficient act. I'll show you an example sentence. "By taking the bus to work, I can kill two birds with one stone. I save money on gas and help reduce pollution." This idiom is a fun and practical way to talk about multitasking and efficiency. The idiom, "caught someone red-handed," means to catch someone in the act of doing something wrong or illegal. It implies that the person was caught with clear evidence of their wrongdoing, often in the moment it was happening. The phrase likely comes from the idea of someone having literal evidence, like blood on their hands, that proves their guilt. Here is an example. "The teacher caught the student red-handed while they were cheating on the test." This idiom is great for everyone because it's commonly used in everyday conversations and helps describe situations where someone is clearly guilty of something. It's a vivid and memorable expression. The idiom, "fall off the wagon," means to return to a bad habit, especially after a period of avoiding it. It's most commonly used to describe someone who starts drinking alcohol again after they've tried to quit. However, it can also apply to other habits, like smoking, overeating, or any behavior someone is trying to stop. The phrase comes from the idea of someone falling off a water wagon, a wagon used to spray water on dusty roads, and getting dirty, symbolizing a return to old ways. I'll show you an example. After 6 months of staying sober, John fell off the wagon at his friend's birthday party. This idiom is so useful because it's a common way to talk about relapses or setbacks in personal goals. It's also a great example of how idioms can be colorful and metaphorical. The idiom, "hard pill to swallow," means something that is difficult to accept or deal with, often because it's unpleasant, disappointing, or challenging. It's like taking a bitter medicine. It's not easy, but sometimes necessary. This phrase is often used to describe truths, realities, or situations that are emotionally tough to face. You can use it in a sentence like this. "Losing the championship was a hard pill to swallow, but the team knew they had to move on and prepare for next season." This idiom is a great addition to your English arsenal because it's a vivid way to express emotional difficulty or resistance to accepting something. It's commonly used in both personal and professional contexts, making it a versatile phrase to know. The idiom, "be in stitches," means to laugh uncontrollably or find something extremely funny. It comes from the idea of laughing so hard that it feels like your sides are stitched together from the effort. This phrase is often used to describe a situation or joke that is hilarious. Let me show you an example. The comedian's jokes were so funny that the entire audience was in stitches. This idiom is perfect because it's a colorful and expressive way to talk about laughter and humor. It's commonly used in casual conversations, making it a fun and useful phrase to add to your vocabulary. The idiom, talk to someone like a Dutch uncle, means to speak to someone in a very direct, honest, and sometimes stern way, often to give them advice or criticism. The phrase suggests a tone that is firm but well-meaning, as if the speaker is trying to help the other person improve or avoid mistakes. The origin of the idiom is unclear, but it may come from the stereotype of Dutch people being straightforward and blunt. Here is an example. After I made a mistake at work, my boss talked to me like a Dutch uncle, explaining what I did wrong and how to do better next time. This idiom is handy because it's a unique way to describe a serious, no-nonsense conversation. It's often used in contexts where someone is offering guidance or constructive criticism. The idiom, make a mountain out of a molehill, means to exaggerate or make a small problem seem much bigger or more serious than it really is. It's like turning a tiny molehill, a small pile of dirt made by a mole, into a huge mountain. This phrase is often used to describe someone who overreacts or blows things out of proportion. You can use it in a sentence like this. She was making a mountain out of a molehill when she got upset over a small stain on her shirt. This idiom is a vivid and memorable way to talk about overreacting or exaggerating. It's commonly used in everyday conversations, making it a practical phrase to know. The idiom, flash in the pan, refers to something that shows initial promise or excitement, but quickly fades or fails to deliver lasting results. It originally comes from the days of flintlock muskets, where a flash in the pan referred to the gunpowder igniting in the pan, the part of the gun where the spark was created, but failing to fire the bullet. This momentary spark without a lasting effect is now used metaphorically. Here is an example for you. The new singer's first song was a hit, but her career turned out to be just a flash in the pan. This idiom is a colorful way to describe something that is short-lived or lacks staying power. It's often used to talk about trends, successes, or achievements that don't last. The idiom chasing rainbows means pursuing something that is unrealistic, unattainable, or unlikely to happen. It comes from the idea of trying to catch a rainbow, which is beautiful but impossible to reach. This phrase is often used to describe someone who is wasting time or effort on a dream or goal that is not practical. Let's look at this example together. He's been chasing rainbows for years, trying to become a famous actor without any training or experience. This idiom is a vivid and poetic way to talk about unrealistic goals or dreams. It's often used to gently criticize or advise someone to focus on more achievable pursuits. The idiom, drive someone up the wall, means to irritate, annoy, or frustrate someone to the point of exasperation. It's like saying someone's behavior is so bothersome that it feels like they're being pushed to the edge of their patience, as if they're being driven up a wall. Here is an example for you. The constant noise from the construction site is driving me up the wall. This idiom is a common and expressive way to talk about frustration or irritation. It's often used in casual conversations to describe situations or people that are particularly annoying. The idiom, a far cry from something, means that something is very different from something else, often in a way that highlights a contrast or disappointment. It suggests a significant distance or gap between two things, whether in quality, condition, or expectations. Let me show you an example. The tiny apartment we rented was a far cry from the luxurious hotel we stayed in last year. This idiom is a simple and effective way to compare two things and emphasize their differences. It's commonly used in both casual and formal contexts, making it a versatile phrase to know. The by the skin of one's teeth idiom means to barely succeed or narrowly escape a difficult situation. It emphasizes how close someone came to failing or facing a bad outcome. Here is an example sentence. I almost missed my flight, but I made it by the skin of my teeth. I arrived at the gate just as they were closing the doors. This idiom is a great way to talk about close calls and narrow successes. The idiom pick holes in something means to find faults or flaws in something, often in a critical or nitpicky way. It's used when someone is analyzing or criticizing an idea, plan, or argument by pointing out its weaknesses or imperfections. The phrase suggests a focus on small, sometimes insignificant details rather than the bigger picture. I'll show you an example. No matter how good my presentation is, my boss always finds a way to pick holes in it. This idiom is a useful way to talk about criticism and constructive feedback. The idiom, get cold feet, means to suddenly become nervous, hesitant, or afraid to do something you had previously planned or agreed to do. It's often used when someone backs out of a commitment or decision due to fear or anxiety. You can use it in a sentence like this. He was excited about the wedding, but on the big day he got cold feet and started having second thoughts. This idiom is commonly used in situations like weddings, public speaking, or any big commitment where someone might feel anxious at the last moment. It's a great phrase to know because it's widely used in everyday conversations. The idiom, weather the storm, means to endure or survive a difficult situation or period of trouble. It comes from the idea of a ship or person surviving a literal storm, but it's often used metaphorically to describe overcoming challenges or hardships. Let me show you an example. Even though the company faced financial difficulties last year, they managed to weather the storm and are now stronger than ever. This idiom is great because it's commonly used in both personal and professional contexts to talk about resilience and perseverance. The idiom, throw caution to the wind, means to act recklessly or without worrying about the risks or consequences. It suggests abandoning carefulness and taking bold or daring action. Here is an example for you. After years of saving money, she decided to throw caution to the wind and book a spontaneous trip around the world. This idiom is useful because it's often used to describe moments when people take risks or follow their impulses, which is a relatable concept in everyday life. The idiom, keep your eyes peeled, means to stay alert, watch carefully, or pay close attention to something. It's often used when you're looking for something specific or waiting for something to happen. You can use it in a sentence like this. Keep your eyes peeled for the red car. It should be arriving any minute now. This idiom is great because it's a fun and vivid way to remind someone to stay focused and observant. It's commonly used in everyday conversations. The idiom, spice things up, means to make something more exciting, interesting, or lively. It comes from the idea of adding spices to food to enhance its flavor, but it's often used metaphorically to describe making changes to improve or energize a situation. You can use it in a sentence like this. Our weekly meetings were getting boring, so we decided to spice things up by adding fun team-building activities. This idiom is fun because it's a colorful and versatile way to talk about making improvements or adding excitement to various aspects of life, whether it's relationships, routines, or events. The idiom, down to the wire, means that something is happening or being decided at the very last moment or just before a deadline. It often implies a sense of urgency or suspense, as if the outcome is uncertain until the final seconds. I'll give you an example. The game was so intense that it came down to the wire, with the winning team scoring in the last few seconds. This idiom is great for many people because it's commonly used in sports, work, or any situation where time is running out and the result is still unclear. It's a vivid way to describe suspenseful or tight deadlines. The idiom, a bone to pick, means to have a complaint or grievance with someone that you want to discuss or resolve. It often implies that there's an issue or disagreement that needs to be addressed. Here's an example. I have a bone to pick with my roommate because he keeps leaving the kitchen messy. This idiom is great because it's a casual and slightly humorous way to express that you have something to talk about or resolve with someone. It's commonly used in everyday conversations. The idiom, beat around the bush, means to avoid talking directly about something or to delay getting to the main point. It's often used when someone is being indirect or evasive instead of addressing an issue straightforwardly. I'll show you how to use it in a sentence. Stop beating around the bush and just tell me what you really think about the project. This idiom is perfect for everyone because it's a common way to encourage someone to be more direct and clear in conversations. It's widely used in both casual and formal settings. The idiom, everything but the kitchen sink, means including almost everything imaginable, often in an excessive or overwhelming way. It's used to describe a situation where someone includes a lot of things, sometimes unnecessarily. Here is an example for you. She packed everything but the kitchen sink for her weekend trip. Her suitcase was overflowing. This idiom is great to use because it's a fun and exaggerated way to describe situations where someone goes overboard or includes too much. It's commonly used in everyday conversations. The idiom, see someone's true colors, means to discover someone's real character, especially when it's different from the way they've been presenting themselves. It's often used when someone's hidden traits, intentions, or behavior are revealed, usually in a negative way. The phrase comes from the idea of colors representing someone's true nature. You can use it in a sentence like this. At first, he seemed very kind, but when he got angry over a small mistake, I saw his true colors. This idiom is a great way to talk about recognizing people's real intentions or personalities. It's a common and relatable phrase in American English. The idiom, can't hold a candle to someone or something, means that someone or something is not nearly as good or skilled as another person or thing. It's often used to compare two things, emphasizing that one is far superior to the other. The phrase comes from the old practice of apprentices holding candles to provide light for skilled workers. If someone couldn't even do that, they were considered much less capable. I'll give you one example. Her cooking is good, but it can't hold a candle to her grandmother's recipes. Those are truly amazing. This idiom is a colorful way to express comparison and is a great addition to your English expressions. It's commonly used in everyday conversation. The idiom, birds of a feather flock together, means that people who are similar in character, interests, or personalities tend to spend time with each other. It's often used to describe how people naturally gravitate toward others who share their values, hobbies, or lifestyles. The phrase comes from the observation that birds of the same species often fly in groups. I'll show you how to use it in a sentence. All the artists in the neighborhood always hang out at the same cafe. It's true what they say, birds of a feather flock together. This idiom is a great way to talk about the concept of like-minded people and how friendships or groups form. It's a common and relatable phrase in American culture. The idiom, face the music, means to accept the consequences of your actions, even if they are unpleasant. It's often used when someone has to deal with a difficult or uncomfortable situation that they can no longer avoid. The origin of this phrase is unclear, but it's thought to come from the idea of musicians facing the audience or the orchestra facing the conductor, ready to perform despite any mistakes. You can use it in a sentence like this. After forgetting his best friend's birthday, he knew he had to face the music and apologize. This idiom is a great way to talk about accountability and dealing with the results of their actions. It's a very common and practical phrase in American English. The idiom, keep something under wraps, means to keep something secret or hidden, especially to prevent it from being revealed to others. It's often used when talking about plans, information, or surprises that are not yet ready to be shared. The phrase likely comes from the idea of wrapping something up to conceal it. I'll show you an example. The company is keeping their new product under wraps until the official launch next month. This expression is perfect for discussing secrecy and being discreet. It's a widely used and practical phrase that fits well in both informal and formal settings. The idiom, take something with a grain of salt, means to not completely believe what someone says or to be skeptical about it. It suggests that the information might be exaggerated, unreliable, or not entirely accurate. The phrase has its origins in ancient times, when adding a grain of salt was thought to make food or medicine easier to swallow. Metaphorically, it means making information easier to accept by not taking it too seriously. Here is an example. He told me he could finish the project in one day, but I took it with a grain of salt. He's known for making unrealistic promises. This idiom is a great way to talk about skepticism and critical thinking. It's a very common and practical phrase in American English. The idiom, walk in one's shoes, means to try to understand someone else's experiences, feelings, or perspectives by imagining yourself in their situation. It's often used to encourage empathy and to remind people not to judge others without considering what they've been through. Here is an example for you. Before you criticize her for being late to work, try to walk in her shoes. She's juggling a full-time job and taking care of her sick mother. This idiom is a great way to talk about empathy and understanding others' perspectives. It's also a common phrase in American culture, so it's a useful idiom to know. The idiom, "Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater," means that when you're trying to get rid of something bad or unnecessary, you should be careful not to lose or discard something valuable or important in the process. It's a reminder to be thoughtful and not overreact when making changes or decisions. Here's an example. I know you're frustrated with the new software because it's slow, but don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It still has some really useful features that we need. This idiom is often used in situations where people might be tempted to make drastic changes without considering the good parts that should be preserved. It's a colorful way to say, be careful not to lose the good while trying to fix the bad. The idiom call a spade means to speak honestly and directly about something, even if it's unpleasant or controversial. It's about being straightforward and not sugarcoating the truth. Let me show you an example. Let's just call a spade a spade. The project failed because we didn't plan properly, and we need to take responsibility for that. This idiom is often used in situations where people might avoid being blunt or direct. It encourages honesty and clarity, even when it's uncomfortable. It's a great phrase to emphasize the importance of being upfront and truthful. The idiom, fair weather friend, refers to someone who is only around when things are going well, but disappears or is unsupportive when times get tough. It's used to describe a person who isn't truly loyal or dependable in difficult situations. You can use it in a sentence like this. When I lost my job, I realized who my real friends were. Some people were there for me, but others turned out to be fair weather friends who only wanted to hang out when life was easy. This idiom is often used to highlight the difference between true friends and those who are only around for the good times. It's a great way to talk about loyalty and reliability in relationships. The idiom, hear it on the grapevine, means to learn about something through unofficial channels, like rumors or gossip, rather than through direct or official sources. It's often used when information spreads informally among people. I'll show you how to use it in a sentence. I heard it on the grapevine that Sarah is getting promoted next month, but I'm not sure if it's true yet. This idiom comes from the idea of information spreading like vines, connecting people in a network. It's a fun way to talk about how news or rumors can travel quickly, even if it's not always accurate. The idiom, paint the town red, means to go out and have a great time, often by celebrating, partying, or enjoying yourself in a lively and exciting way. It's usually used to describe a fun and memorable night out. Here is an example. We're finally done with exams. Let's go out tonight and paint the town red to celebrate. This idiom is often associated with letting loose and having a good time after a period of hard work or stress. It's a colorful way to talk about celebrating and enjoying life. The idiom, wash my hands of someone or something, means to stop being involved with or responsible for a person, situation, or problem, often because it's frustrating, troublesome, or no longer worth the effort. It's about distancing yourself completely. I'll show you an example. After months of trying to help him with his bad habits, I've decided to wash my hands of the situation. It's up to him to change now. This idiom comes from the idea of literally cleaning your hands to symbolize removing yourself from something. It's often used when someone has reached their limit and decides to step away. It's a strong way to express that you're done dealing with a problem or person. The idiom, icing on the cake, refers to something that makes a good situation even better or adds an extra bonus to something already great. It's like the finishing touch that enhances an already positive experience. Let me show you an example. Winning the award was amazing. but getting a promotion the same week was the icing on the cake. This idiom comes from the idea of adding icing to a cake, which makes it even more delicious and special. It's a cheerful way to talk about unexpected or extra benefits that make something even more enjoyable. The idiom blow off steam means to release pent-up energy, stress, or frustration, usually by doing something active or energetic. It's like letting out pressure so you feel calmer afterward. This phrase comes from the idea of steam engines releasing excess steam to avoid pressure buildup. Here is an example for you. After a long day at work, I went for a run to blow off steam and clear my mind. This idiom is perfect for situations where someone needs to unwind or let go of stress in a healthy way. It's a great phrase to know because it's commonly used in everyday conversations. The idiom "a fifth wheel" refers to a person who feels unnecessary or out of place in a particular situation, often because they are not needed or wanted. It originates from the idea of a fifth wheel on a vehicle, which is redundant since most vehicles only need 4 wheels. Here's an example sentence. At the party, I felt like a fifth wheel because everyone else was paired up and I was the only one alone. This idiom is great for using figurative language. It can express feelings of being unwanted or superfluous. The idiom backseat driver refers to someone who tries to control or give unwanted advice, especially in situations where they are not in charge. It comes from the idea of a passenger in the back seat of a car who constantly tells the driver how to drive, even though they're not the one behind the wheel. I'll give you one example. My mom is such a backseat driver. She keeps telling me how to park even though I've been driving for years. This idiom is a fun way to show how language can describe people who try to take control or interfere in situations where they shouldn't. It's also a great way to introduce conversational phrases used in everyday life. The idiom "leave someone out in the cold" means to exclude or ignore someone, often making them feel isolated or neglected. It comes from the literal idea of leaving someone outside in cold weather, which is uncomfortable and unwelcoming. I'll show you how you can use it in a sentence. When my friends made plans without inviting me, I felt like they left me out in the cold. This idiom is a great way to describe feelings of exclusion or being ignored. It's a relatable phrase that can help them understand how idioms can convey emotions in a vivid and memorable way. The idiom backhanded compliment refers to a remark that seems like a compliment on the surface, but actually contains criticism or an insult. It's a sneaky way of saying something nice while also implying something negative. Here's an example sentence. She said, "You're so brave for wearing that outfit," but it felt like a backhanded compliment because it sounded like she didn't like it. This idiom is a fantastic way to show the nuances of language and how tone and context can change the meaning of words. It's also a great example of how people might use subtle or indirect language in conversation. The idiom, "caught with one's hand in the cookie jar," means to be caught doing something wrong or dishonest, often in the act. It comes from the literal image of a child trying to sneak cookies from a jar and being caught red-handed. Here is an example sentence for you. When the teacher saw him looking at his phone during the test, he was caught with his hand in the cookie jar. This idiom is a fun and vivid way to describe being caught in the act of doing something wrong. It's a great example of how idioms can paint a clear picture of a situation. The idiom "call the shots" means to be the person in charge or the one who makes the decisions. It comes from the idea of someone giving orders or directing a situation, like a coach calling plays in a game. Let me show you an example sentence. In our team, Sarah calls the shots because she has the most experience and knows how to lead us effectively. This idiom is a great way to describe leadership and decision-making. It's a common phrase used in both casual and professional settings, making it a useful addition to your English vocabulary. The idiom "cut someone some slack" means to be less critical or demanding of someone, often by giving them a break or showing understanding. It's about being lenient or forgiving when someone makes a mistake or is under pressure. You can use it in a sentence like this. "She's been working really hard lately, so let's cut her some slack if she's a little late to the meeting." This idiom is a great way to describe kindness, patience, and understanding in everyday situations. It's a casual and friendly phrase that's commonly used in conversations. The idiom hold water means that an argument, theory, or explanation is logical, valid, or believable. It comes from the idea of a container holding water without leaking. If it doesn't hold water, it's flawed or unreliable. Here is an example. His excuse for being late didn't hold water because we all saw him at the coffee shop earlier. This idiom is a great way to describe the validity or credibility of something. It's a useful phrase for discussing whether an idea or statement makes sense or is convincing. The idiom, "don't hold your breath," means not to expect something to happen soon or at all, often because it's unlikely or uncertain. It's a playful way of saying, "don't wait around for it," because holding your breath for too long is impossible. You can use it in a sentence like this. "He said he'd pay me back next week, but don't hold your breath. He's been saying that for months." This idiom is a fun and relatable way to describe skepticism or doubt. It's a casual phrase often used in conversation to manage expectations. The idiom doom and gloom refers to a feeling or atmosphere of extreme pessimism, negativity, or hopelessness about a situation. It's often used to describe someone who focuses only on the worst possible outcomes or constantly expects bad things to happen. Here's an example sentence. "Even though the team lost one game, there's no need for all this doom and gloom. We still have a chance to win the championship." This idiom is commonly used in everyday conversations to describe overly negative attitudes. It's also a fun phrase to practice pronunciation with its rhyming words. The idiom, "fall on deaf ears," means that something you say or suggest is ignored or not taken seriously by the person or people you're speaking to. It's often used when advice, warnings, or requests are disregarded. I'll give you an example sentence. "I tried to warn my friend about the risks of investing in that company, but my advice fell on deaf ears." This idiom is a common way to express frustration or disappointment when your words aren't heeded. It's also a great phrase to practice figurative language, as it uses the idea of deaf ears to symbolize being ignored. The idiom, "have a field day," means to enjoy oneself greatly or take full advantage of an opportunity, often in a way that involves excitement, enthusiasm, or even overindulgence. It can also be used to describe someone who benefits from a situation, especially when they exploit it. You can use it in a sentence like this. "A kid's had a field day at the amusement park, riding every roller coaster and eating tons of cotton candy." This idiom is a lively and expressive way to describe having a lot of fun or making the most of a situation. It's also a great example of how idioms can paint a vivid picture. Imagine a field day as a day full of excitement and freedom. The idiom, "full of hot air," is used to describe someone who talks a lot but doesn't say anything meaningful or truthful. It suggests that the person is exaggerating, lying, or making empty promises. I'll show you an example sentence. "Don't believe everything he says. He's just full of hot air and rarely follows through on his promises." This idiom is a fun and colorful way to describe someone who talks too much without substance. It's also a great example of how idioms can use imagery. Imagine hot air as something that sounds big but has no real weight or value. The idiom, "get a taste of your own medicine," means to experience the same negative treatment or behavior that you have given to others. It's often used when someone who has been unfair, unkind, or dishonest is treated in the same way in return. Let me show you an example sentence. After years of teasing his little sister, he finally got a taste of his own medicine when his friends started teasing him. This idiom is a great way to talk about karma or fairness in a vivid and relatable way. It's also a fun phrase to practice because it uses the metaphor of medicine to describe the idea of experiencing the consequences of your actions. The idiom, "get down to the nuts and bolts," means to focus on the basic, practical, or essential details of something. It's often used when discussing the core elements of a task, project, or problem, stripping away any unnecessary or superficial aspects. Here's an example sentence. "After discussing the general idea for the project, we decided to get down to the nuts and bolts and figure out the budget and timeline. This idiom is useful because it's a common way to describe diving into the practical or technical details of a situation. It's also a great example of how idioms can use everyday objects, like nuts and bolts, to represent fundamental concepts. The idiom "get into deep water" means to find yourself in a difficult, complicated, or risky situation, often because of your own actions or decisions. It's similar to being in over your head or facing a problem that's hard to handle. Here's an example sentence. He got into deep water when he tried to take on too many responsibilities at work and couldn't keep up with all of them. This idiom is a great way to describe challenging situations in a vivid and relatable way. It uses the metaphor of deep water to symbolize trouble or difficulty, making it an easy-to-understand and expressive phrase. The idiom "hold the fort" means to take care of a place, situation, or responsibility while someone else is temporarily away. It's often used to describe keeping things running smoothly or maintaining order in someone's absence. Here's an example sentence. While the manager is on vacation, I'll have to hold the fort and make sure everything runs smoothly at the office. This idiom is useful because it's a common way to talk about taking charge or managing a situation temporarily. It also has an interesting origin. It comes from the idea of defending a fort during a battle, but today it's used in everyday contexts to describe keeping things under control. The idiom "I don't have two nickels to rub together" is a colorful way to say that someone is very poor or doesn't have any money. It emphasizes the idea of having so little that you can't even rub two small coins, nickels, together. You can use it in a sentence like this. After paying all my bills this month, I don't have two nickels to rub together. I'll have to wait until next payday to buy anything extra. This idiom is a fun and expressive way to talk about financial struggles. It's also a great example of how idioms can use exaggeration and imagery to make a point. Here, the idea of rubbing nickels together paints a vivid picture of having almost nothing. The idiom "have bigger fish to fry" means to have more important or pressing matters to deal with than the one currently being discussed. It's often used to dismiss something as trivial or to prioritize more significant tasks. Let me show you how you can use it in a sentence. I can't worry about fixing the squeaky door right now. I have bigger fish to fry with this deadline at work. This idiom is a great way to express the idea of prioritizing more important tasks or issues. It's also a fun and vivid phrase because it uses the metaphor of bigger fish to represent more significant concerns, making it easy to understand and remember. The idiom "in a jam" means to be in a difficult or tricky situation, often one that's hard to get out of. It's a casual way to say someone is stuck or facing a problem. Here's an example sentence. I forgot my wallet at home and now I'm in a jam because I can't pay for my lunch. This idiom is commonly used in everyday conversations. It's a fun and expressive way to describe being in trouble or needing help. The idiom "in full swing" means that something is happening at its peak level of activity or intensity. It's often used to describe events, activities, or processes that are fully underway and very lively. Let me show you an example sentence. By the time we arrived at the party, it was already in full swing, with music playing and people dancing. This idiom is commonly used to describe situations that are bustling or energetic. It's a great way to add color to your conversations. The idiom "jump through hoops" means to go through a lot of effort or difficulty to achieve something, often involving tasks or requirements that feel unnecessary or overly complicated. It's like performing tricks to meet someone's demands. Here is an example sentence for you. I had to jump through hoops to get my visa approved, but it was worth it in the end. This idiom is great because it vividly describes the feeling of working hard to meet expectations or overcome obstacles. It's a fun and expressive way to talk about challenges. The idiom "keep something at bay" means to prevent something, often something negative or harmful, from getting too close or becoming a problem. It's like holding something off or maintaining control over a situation. Here's an example sentence. She drank plenty of water and took vitamins to keep the flu at bay during the winter season. This idiom is useful because it's often used in contexts related to health, safety, or managing challenges. It's a great way to express the idea of staying ahead of potential problems. The idiom knock someone's socks off means to impress or amaze someone greatly. It's often used to describe something so extraordinary or exciting that it leaves a strong positive impression. I'll show you an example. The magician's performance was incredible. It really knocked my socks off. This idiom is a fun and energetic way to talk about being impressed or wowed by something. It's a great addition to casual conversations. The idiom, laugh all the way to the bank, means to make a lot of money, often in a way that seems surprisingly easy or unexpected. It's usually used when someone profits from something others might have doubted or criticized. Here's an example sentence. Everyone thought his idea for a new app was silly, but now he's laughing all the way to the bank because it's a huge success. This idiom is great because it's a playful way to talk about financial success, especially when it comes as a surprise or against the odds. It's a fun and colorful expression. The idiom learn the ropes means to learn how to do something, especially the basic skills or knowledge needed for a new job, task, or activity. It's often used when someone is getting familiar with a new situation. You can use it in a sentence like this. It took me a few weeks to learn the ropes at my new job, but now I feel much more confident. This idiom is commonly used in work or learning contexts. It's a great way to talk about gaining experience and understanding in a new environment. The idiom make ends meet means to have just enough money to cover your basic expenses and needs. It's often used when someone is managing a tight budget or struggling financially. Here's an example sentence. After losing her job, she had to work 2 part-time jobs just to make ends meet. This idiom is very useful because it's a common way to talk about financial struggles or managing money carefully. It's a practical and relatable expression. The idiom, my eyes are bigger than my stomach, means that you've taken or ordered more food than you can actually eat. It's often used humorously when someone realizes they've overestimated their appetite. You can use it in a sentence like this. I ordered way too much at the restaurant. My eyes were bigger than my stomach, and I couldn't finish it all. This idiom is great because it's a lighthearted and relatable way to talk about overestimating how much food you can handle. It's perfect for casual conversations, especially around meals. The idiom, out of the frying pan and into the fire, means to go from a bad or difficult situation to an even worse one. It's like escaping one problem only to find yourself in a bigger or more serious one. Here is an example sentence for you. I thought quitting my stressful job would solve my problems, but now I'm out of the frying pan and into the fire. I can't find a new job and my bills are piling up. This idiom is a vivid and dramatic way to describe a worsening situation. It's a powerful expression for storytelling or sharing experiences. The idiom pie in the sky refers to an idea, plan, or promise that sounds great, but is unrealistic or unlikely to happen. It's often used to describe something that's too good to be true. I'll show you how you can use it in a sentence. His plan to become a millionaire overnight is just pie in the sky. It's not based on reality. This idiom is a colorful way to talk about unrealistic dreams or plans. It's a fun and expressive phrase to use in conversations about hopes and expectations. The idiom rain on one's parade means to spoil someone's happiness or excitement by saying or doing something negative. It's like ruining a moment of joy or celebration. You can use it in a sentence like this. I was really excited about my promotion, but my coworker had to rain on my parade by pointing out all the extra work I'd have to do. This idiom is great because it's a vivid and relatable way to describe someone ruining a happy moment. It's a fun and expressive phrase to use in everyday conversations. The idiom shoot the breeze means to have a casual, relaxed conversation about unimportant or light topics. It's like chatting informally without any serious purpose. Here is an example. We sat on the porch for hours, just shooting the breeze and enjoying the sunny afternoon. This idiom is a common way to describe friendly, laid-back conversations. It's a great phrase to use when talking about hanging out with friends or relaxing with others. The idiom up in arms means to be very angry, upset, or outraged about something, often to the point of protesting or taking action. It's like being ready to fight or defend a cause. Let me show you an example. The community was up in arms when they found out the local park was going to be turned into a parking lot. This idiom is a strong and vivid way to describe strong emotions, especially anger or frustration. It's a powerful phrase for talking about situations where people are ready to take a stand. The idiom water under the bridge means that something happened in the past and is no longer important or worth worrying about. It's like saying the issue is behind you and shouldn't affect the present or future. You can use it in a sentence like this. We had a big argument last year, but it's all water under the bridge now. We've moved on and are good friends again. This idiom is perfect because it's a common and peaceful way to talk about letting go of past conflicts or mistakes. It's a great phrase for emphasizing forgiveness or moving forward. The idiom, a chip on your shoulder, means to have a habit of being easily angered or offended, often because of a sense of being treated unfairly in the past. It's like carrying a grudge or feeling defensive all the time. Here is an example sentence. Ever since he didn't get the promotion, he's had a chip on his shoulder and gets upset over the smallest things. This idiom is a vivid way to describe someone's attitude or behavior when they feel resentful or ready to argue. It's a useful phrase for talking about emotions and personality traits. The idiom, a fork in the road, refers to a point where you have to make an important decision or choose between two different paths or options. It's often used metaphorically to describe a critical moment in life or a project. Here is an example sentence for you. After graduating, I faced a fork in the road. Should I start my own business or take a stable job at a big company? This idiom is a clear and relatable way to talk about making decisions or facing turning points. It's a great phrase for discussing life choices or planning for the future. The idiom, a little learning is a dangerous thing, means that having only a small amount of knowledge about something can lead to overconfidence or mistakes. It's a warning that incomplete understanding can be more harmful than helpful. You can use it in a sentence like this. He tried to fix his car engine after watching one YouTube video, but he only made it worse. A little learning is a dangerous thing. This idiom is a thoughtful way to talk about the importance of thorough knowledge and humility. It's a great phrase for discussions about learning and expertise. The idiom, food for thought, means something that makes you think deeply or consider new ideas. It's like mental nourishment that sparks reflection or discussion. I'll show you an example sentence. The documentary about climate change gave me a lot of food for thought. I'm going to start recycling more and using less plastic. This idiom is a creative way to talk about ideas or information that inspire thinking. It's a perfect phrase for conversations about learning, reflection, or sharing insights. The idiom, a stitch in time saves nine, means that taking care of a small problem now can prevent it from becoming a bigger, more complicated issue later. It's about being proactive and addressing things early. Here is an example sentence. I fixed the leaky faucet right away. A stitch in time saves nine, and I didn't want it to turn into a major plumbing problem. This idiom is a practical and wise way to talk about the importance of timely action. It's a great phrase for discussions about problem solving or planning ahead. The idiom, a stone's throw, means that something is very close in distance, often within walking distance. It's a way to describe something being nearby or easily accessible. You can use it in a sentence like this. Our hotel is just a stone's throw from the beach, so we can walk there in less than 5 minutes. This idiom is great because it's a simple and vivid way to talk about proximity. It's a handy phrase for describing locations or giving directions. The idiom, all in the same boat, means that everyone in a group is facing the same situation or problem. It's a way to show that people are sharing the same experience, often a challenging one. Here is an example sentence for you. Don't worry about the difficult exam. We're all in the same boat, so let's study together and help each other out. This idiom is a comforting and inclusive way to talk about shared experiences. It's a perfect phrase for encouraging teamwork or empathy. The idiom, all Greek to me, means that something is completely incomprehensible or difficult to understand, often because it's technical, complex, or in a foreign language. It's like saying, I don't understand this at all. Here is an example sentence. My friend tried to explain how the stock market works, but it was all Greek to me. I couldn't make sense of it. This idiom is a humorous and relatable way to talk about confusion or lack of understanding. It's a great phrase for casual conversations about learning or explaining complex topics. Great job making it through all 120 idioms. That was a lot, but now you've got a fantastic foundation. Now it's time to put these idioms into practice. Try using one or two in your conversations every week and see how it goes. Let me know in the comments which idiom is your favorite or which one you plan to use first. And of course, subscribe for more English tips and tricks. Keep practicing, and I'll see you in the next video.